August marks the start of ramping up game releases into the fall, so here's a big list of 10 games releasing in August 2019 that you might want to pay attention to. Let's get started off with number 10 and talk about Oninaki. Now, this is a JRPG from Tokyo RPG Factory. They've made a couple of games now. You might know them as the makers of I Am Setsuna that released a few years back. And in this one, you play as a watcher, this guy who can kind of swap between the real world and a sort of lost world. There is combat that looks pretty solid. It revolves around your character summoning these daemons to fight alongside you. And visually, it's looking really great. It looks like you're getting full-size character models this time around. You're not getting small little things. And I gotta say, Tokyo RPG Factory is an interesting developer because they set out very specifically to make like PS1 era JRPGs, and they succeed, but they just never really stick with me. This one, Oninaki, looks absolutely the most exciting so far of the games they've made. They do know how to build worlds, they know how to write, and the music is always kick-ass, and it looks like that might be the same here, so I'm gonna keep my eye on it. It releases August 22nd on PC, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. But next up at number 9, we gotta talk about Blair Witch. This surprise game based on the Blair Witch lore is coming out this month, and we still don't really know too much about it. It is a console exclusive on Xbox One, but it's also releasing on PC, and most notably, it's from the people behind Layers of Fear 2, which is a really kick-ass horror game, so I'm hoping this thing turns out to be great. I'm still skeptical just because we haven't seen too much, but details-wise, we know that you are an ex-cop who is searching for Ellis, a lost boy. It apparently takes place 2 years after the events of the original Blair Witch movie, which is one of my favorites of all time, and there's a dog in the game. You have a dog named Bullet that helps you out, but the game is primarily focused around exploration, story, and horror. It doesn't seem like there's going to be like a huge combat focus or anything. It doesn't seem completely like a first-person shooter, but we don't know yet. It has been described by the developers as first-person psychological horror that actually studies your reactions to danger and stress. You're going through a dark forest, you're searching through old abandoned shacks and stuff, and the game is aiming to just be generally unsettling, which I really like, especially considering the first Blair Witch movie really did a good job of scaring you with what you don't actually see. It's your imagination that freaks you out the most. I really hope that the game can keep up with that methodology, but you know, we'll find out when it releases on August 30th. I really am hoping this one is good, like a surprise kick-ass game, but we'll see. Next up at number 8, we have Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. This is a slightly Western-themed space exploration game. You explore space, you fly around, there's focus on combat and trading, and it's a follow-up to Rebel Galaxy that was a smaller game that released that actually people really enjoyed. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw essentially takes that game and just puts it on a bigger scale. Bigger explosions, more gameplay, more of a budget, and it looks like a game that PC players should just really get into. This is a PC-ass game. As of right now, though, it is an Epic Games exclusive, but it is releasing on August 13th. Next, over at number 7, speaking of games that are PC as hell, we have Age of Wonders Planetfall. This is a 4X turn-based strategy game, 4X games of which we don't get too often anymore, but this is actually the 5th installment of the Age of Wonders, and this one is embracing a new, completely sci-fi setting, and honestly, it looks pretty badass. There's going to be lots of factions, there's also going to be turn-based combat to keep you busy, and I think this is something worth keeping an eye on if you're a fan of Paradox Interactive or if you're a fan of 4X games. The idea here is to build a big galactic empire, pillaging resources, conquering, doing whatever you want, but you have the freedom to approach it however you want. If you want to create like an idyllic, peaceful paradise or build an actual sort of dark conquering empire. This will have apparently a deep single-player campaign with random map generation as well for endless replay, and there's going to be online multiplayer, which I know a lot of people are into with these types of 4X games. The big release, of course, is going to be PC, obviously, but this is also dropping on PS4 and Xbox One, which should be interesting for exposing console players to a completely new genre. But it's releasing August 6th, so you could check it out then. Next at number 6, we have Ancestors, The Humankind Odyssey. Now this game is interesting because it's from one of the creators of Assassin's Creed originally, Patrice Désilets. But this game, interestingly enough, made a big splash when it was announced because of his pedigree, and then kind of went dark. But essentially what this game is, it's 10 million years ago, and it's like a third-person adventure survival game. It kind of sounds like you escort your early human through a harsh environment, kind of growing and learning how to use your hands to survive, while slowly evolving and progressing and becoming modern man. It sounds really, really ambitious, and I'm curious to see how this goes. I think it stands to be possibly very, very interesting just because it's unlike other things we've played. This is more of a survival game, but not Ark or Rust. It's like real, actual survival and evolving. I hope it's smarter than your average survival game because of the people behind it. Also, the fact that Private Division is publishing it. Those are the guys behind the upcoming Outer Worlds. It seems like they picked some good stuff, so I'm hoping this is a good one. I'm hoping it's unique this month. We'll know for sure when it releases on PC August 27th, and then it's coming to consoles as well in December. But next up at number 5, we have Remnant: From the Ashes. This is an action survival shooter from Gunfire Games, the folks behind, most recently, Darksiders 3. Now, this has been dubbed kind of like a Dark Souls-like shooter. I know that kind of pisses people off. I don't know about that. But my takeaway so far has been, from what I've seen, that it has really cool character designs. Combat involves some fairly tight-looking third-person shooting. There's shooting, dodges, a melee attack, special attacks like summons, and a really cool AoE blast. Apparently there is going to be loot and progression, but the designers didn't want the game to be focused on a grind like The Division or Destiny. They wanted everything you have to feel like a big deal and you keep it for a long time. And the gameplay is more of a focus than the loot. I'm curious to see how this goes. I think this is one of those games that stands to be embraced by a smaller community that absolutely loves it, especially with these cool character designs. But it could also just blow up and find some big mainstream success too. I don't know. But it's releasing on August 20th for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, so we'll find out what the deal is then. Over at number 4, we have the Dark Pictures, Man of Medan. This is from Supermassive Games, the developers behind Until Dawn. The big thing is this time, though, is that this isn't a PlayStation 4 Sony exclusive. This is multi-platform, and it's published by Bandai Namco, but thankfully, Supermassive Games is sticking to what they do best, and that is horror in a sort of cinematic third-person drama thing. This, like Until Dawn, is going to serve more as like an interactive story with multiple branching storylines and different endings and different outcomes. You play as about 5 different characters who are Americans on the open seas who come across a spooky ghost ship and then they explore it. And honestly, I'm all about that because spooky ghost ships is a very cool horror thing, but hasn't been explored in video games too much, and I'd love to see their take on it. Interestingly enough too, the Dark Pictures is the first part of a planned horror anthology series from Supermassive, and each one is going to approach different avenues of horror. I'm really curious to see how this works out. I got to check this out at a preview at PAX East last year, and I will say that the trailer makes the game look kind of rough, but in-game the graphics are great. It seems very entertaining and just kind of like more of what you expect like Until Dawn, and I'm about that. But thankfully it's releasing on PC, PS4, and Xbox One August 30th. Next, over at number 3, we have World of Warcraft Classic. Blizzard is kind of billing this as a, and I quote, faithful recreation of the original World of Warcraft. I mean, guys, believe it or not, this game has existed, World of Warcraft, for 15 years. So World of Warcraft Classic is essentially returning it to how it existed in 2006 with a bunch of refinements. This has had alphas and betas already, and there's been a lot of positive buzz behind it from fans and just people who have gotten their hands on it. And I'm really curious to see this just because it's unprecedented. For an MMO to just be this large and this long running, they could do whatever they want, and a return to form like this as a fun diversion is really cool. It's good for someone like me who only dabbled in Warcraft back in the day, who hasn't played anything recently. I just want that same thing again. But it also could be good for fans that have been playing consistently, because this can serve as just like a nice change of pace going back to the old way. I'm really curious to see how this pans out, because we haven't seen stuff like this really before, except for just like regular remasters of old games. But an MMO is totally different, dude. It's finally getting its full release for everyone to access August 27th on PC. But coming down to number 2, we have Astral Chain. This is a Platinum Games joint, and it's a Switch exclusive. Interestingly enough, the lead designer is behind Nier Automata, and the game is being supervised by Hideki Kamiya, the legendary designer behind stuff like Devil May Cry. There's cool, stylish, fast movement, over-the-top combos, kind of just smashy action combat, very much Platinum Games combat stuff, which I think is what they're really good at. But you're also playing as a rookie police officer, and there are crime fighting and mystery solving elements similar to the Arkham games. You also have mundane stuff, and you have an actual desk that you report to. But on the more fun side, you have Legion minions to unlock, and they can assist you in combat and gameplay. And apparently the game is a bit open, but it does have dungeons and cool boss battles. And judging from what we've seen so far with the trailers and just the general style, I'm all about this game. I really hope it's great, and I also hope, the recent trend lately has been a lot of Switch games have had some technical issues here and there, like keeping up with the frame rate and everything. I hope the Platinum can make this game solid and perform well and just perform fun. I just really hope this one's good. It's going to be one of the bigger Switch exclusives, and definitely of this month when it releases on August 30th. It feels like every game is releasing at the end of August, and that's no different from Control at number 1, which is releasing August 27th. This is from Remedy Games. For the uninitiated, Remedy is the developers and creators behind stuff like the original Max Payne, Alan Wake, and Quantum Break most recently. This game is centered around a US government agency called the Bureau of Control, and they deal with paranormal things and phenomena that essentially violate the laws of science. They keep all of this stuff holed up in their HQ in New York City in this big spooky skyscraper, and you're smack dab in the middle of it as Jessie Faden, a woman who's searching for her younger brother that was kidnapped by this bureau. I'm paraphrasing, there's more to it, but it's a Remedy game. It seems like one of its strangest games, storytelling-wise, in terms of being really abstract, David Lynchy bizarreness, which is honestly what you come to expect, but from what we've seen and what we've played at hands-on events, it seems to go the furthest. It does have combat that seems very punchy and fast and aggressive, reminiscent of Quantum Break, but the added powers elements with the physics-based engine just seems really cool and different. Not to mention the environment, which is apparently the star of the show here, is more of a bigger, explorable area similar to a Metroidvania-style game. It's published by 505 Games, so it has no platform exclusivity, and I'm really curious to see this just as a massive Remedy fanboy. It's releasing on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and again, on August 27th. Those are some games that we're really looking forward to, but we got more that we couldn't fit in the list. These are some bonus games, starting off with Rad, the roguelike game that we've played, and it's actually way cooler than it looks. You'd be surprised. That's releasing on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on August 20th. But then if you're a sports and American football fan, we have Madden NFL 20 releasing on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on August 2nd, as well as Life is Strange 2 Episode 4. This series is finally ramping up on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on August 22nd. On the flip side, we have Hunt Showdown finally getting a full, complete release on PC and Xbox One on August 20th. And then, of course, if you're an MMO fan, Black Desert is finally getting its PS4 release on August 22nd. But those are the games we think are worth checking out and worth looking into releasing in August of 2019. Most importantly, though, we want to know in the comments what you guys are going to be playing, if any. If you can leave a little top 5 for us, games you think you're going to check out, we would love to know so we can tailor our videos in August around what you guys are interested in. But if you learned about a game or something like that and appreciated this video, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We would genuinely be grateful for that. And if you're new, it's worth considering subscribing and hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.